You know that phrase, our greatest strength is also our greatest weakness? I'm not sure if I fully buy into all of what we mean when we say that, but I do think there's a root kernel of truth in there. Because we know that the choices we make, whether they're individual or collective, always have implications down the road and come back to us. One of our greatest strengths as a church collectively is our history and God's faithfulness over the span of nearly 175 years. It's a history that's consistently called us into new territory. It's a history that's been centered primarily and often around mission and missions forever. But that church history brings some challenges too. With such a long track record, it can be hard for us at times to prioritize which form of mission we should engage in now. We have decades of history, rich local relationships. So what are the most important areas that matter now? When I started 1.5 years ago, that was a question that was around then, and it still is true today. We know we want to do more and be more effective in local mission, but the question is always how. And so that's why I'm really excited about us joining Western's Churches and Mission cohort, because it's designed to help us and churches like us discover where they are and where they're called to next, right? It's really a question of how do we live in such a way that if first we're no longer around for some reason, that the community would miss us and mourn us, that it would be a palpable loss. Because let's be honest, if one day all the churches in the US disappeared, in a lot of communities, no one would notice. And we refuse as a community to be that kind of church. We don't exist for ourselves. We don't exist to pull off a great Sunday service, though we do that. We exist to be good news, and as the book of Acts puts it, to be his witnesses in Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and beyond. So this cohort will help us figure out how we're supposed to be good news to our Jerusalem, to our local community, to live as an organization so that if anything happened to us, we'd be missed. And to help people encounter Christ, because the church isn't just a worship service, the church is people who are mobilized by mission. And so we're excited about what that means as we roll it out. It's not going to be a quick process, it will take some time, but it will help us figure out what our local imprint and impact in this community is, aside from what we do on Sunday, but how are we felt and experienced in and around as good news to this city, to this town, to this region. So we want to encourage you to pray for that and be engaged in that locally. What does it look like for you and for me and for all of us to do that together this day and this week? Grace and peace, friends. Have a good week.